Every market in history has been driven by the same force. Not algorithms, not institutions, not policy, human psychology. Behind every chart, every ticker, every price movement, there are people, and people feel. They feel hope, confidence, excitement, euphoria. And then they feel doubt, anxiety, fear, panic. This cycle has repeated for centuries. Tulip mania, the South Sea bubble, the crash of 2008. The names change, the pattern does not. Because human nature does not change. Markets are not machines. They are mirrors. They reflect the collective emotional state of every person participating. And when enough people feel the same thing at the same time, the herd begins to move. There is an old saying on Wall Street: bulls make money, bears make money, hogs get slaughtered. The bull is optimistic, the bear is cautious, but the hog wants more, always more. Greed is not wanting profit. Greed is wanting profit without limit, without caution, without end. Scripture saw this thousands of years ago. Proverbs 27, verse 20. The grave and the place of destruction are never satisfied, neither are the eyes of a man. Ecclesiastes 5:10. A lover of silver will never be satisfied with silver, nor a lover of wealth with income. The scriptures did not describe greed as a character flaw. They described it as a condition, a hunger that feeding only makes worse. In the euphoria phase of any market, this hunger spreads. Prices rise, confidence builds. People begin to believe they cannot lose. Everyone around them is winning. The neighbor, the colleague, the person online who started 6 months ago. And so the herd mentality takes hold. Not through logic, but through social pressure, through the fear of missing out. People begin to confuse a rising tide with personal genius. They mistake luck for skill, timing for wisdom. The pig is being fattened, and it does not know it. Then the turn comes. It always comes, and it comes suddenly. Proverbs 6:15. His disaster will come suddenly. In an instant he will be broken beyond healing. Ecclesiastes 9:12. Man does not know his time. Like fish caught in a cruel net, so men are caught at a bad time that suddenly falls upon them. At the top, denial sets in first. This is just a dip, they say. Buy the dip. Hold the line. But the crowd that was greedy is now trapped. Leveraged positions begin to unwind. Margin calls arrive. People who borrowed to buy are now forced to sell. Not because they choose to, because they must. This is forced selling. It is not a decision, it is a consequence. The hog that was fattened is now slaughtered. The greed that felt like confidence is revealed as recklessness. And once forced selling begins, it feeds on itself. Each sale pushes prices lower. Lower prices trigger more selling. This is the cascade, the stampede in reverse. At the bottom comes capitulation, the moment when pain exceeds patience, when people sell everything just to make the suffering stop.
They do not sell because the value is gone.
They sell because they can no longer bear the uncertainty.
The pain of capitulation
Is the mirror image of euphoria. At the top, they could not imagine losing. At the bottom, they cannot imagine recovering.
both are failures of imagination.
Both are products of the herd.
But Scripture teaches something different.
It teaches the opposite of the herd.
Proverbs 14:16.
The wise one is cautious and turns away from evil, but the stupid one is reckless and overconfident.
Proverbs 29:11.
The stupid one gives vent to all his feelings, but the wise one calmly keeps them in check.
When the crowd is euphoric,
Scripture says, be cautious. When the crowd is in panic, Scripture says, be calm.
this is not passivity.
This is discipline, the hardest kind, acting opposite to what every instinct demands.
When others are greedy,
The wise become careful. When others are fearful, the wise become ready.
but this discipline is not just about markets.
Scripture teaches that wealth stewardship is a moral obligation.
Matthew 6:19.
Stop storing up for yourselves treasures on the earth, where moth and rust consume. And yet, Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children.
These are not contradictions.
Hoarding for yourself is condemned. Building across generations is commanded.
The difference is purpose.
Greed accumulates for self. Stewardship builds for others.
1 Timothy 6, verses 6 through 10.
Godly devotion, along with contentment, is a means of great gain. For the love of money is a root of all sorts of injurious things.
Contentment is the antidote to greed.
Not poverty, not denial, but the discipline of enough.
Ecclesiastes 11:2.
Give a share to 7 or even to 8, for you do not know what disaster will occur on the earth. Solomon taught diversification thousands of years before any portfolio theory existed, because he understood that certainty is an illusion. The person who followed this wisdom never got fully caught in euphoria. They were diversified. They never faced forced selling. They maintained liquidity.
They never capitulated.
Their structure held.
While the herd stampeded in one direction
And then the other, the wise stood still. And when the dust settled, they were ready to act.
Proverbs 1:33.
The one listening to me will dwell in security and be undisturbed by the dread of calamity.
The cycle will repeat.
It always has. Euphoria will return. Greed will follow. The hog will be fattened again.
And the slaughter will come again.
Forced selling. Capitulation. Pain.
But the person aligned with ancient wisdom
Will walk through it differently. Not untouched, but unbroken.
because their peace was never built on the market.
It was built on structure, on stewardship, on wisdom that has outlasted every crash in history.
The answers were never hidden.
They were written long before Wall Street existed,
And they will still be true
long after the next crash is forgotten.